I appreciate it. Thank you very much for being here and for your testimony. And thank you to our ranking member and our chairman for holding this discussion. Mr. Lettieri, earlier this week, one of our local publications in Iowa ran a story titled "Workforce Worries Keep Iowa Manufacturers Up at Night." And it is a very timely article considering the topic that we are discussing today. The article reiterated what I routinely hear from businesses as I'm out on the 99 county tour in Iowa. Their growth is constrained by workforce limitations. The jobs are there, they exist, but it's increasingly hard to find those qualified applicants. And in Iowa, we have great schools and a favorable work climate, but we still struggle with this particular issue. And what are your thoughts on what can be done by the private sector? What can our high schools and colleges be doing to help with this workforce shortage? And what can the government do to address this issue?
Thank you, Senator. A similar article just came out on New Hampshire, actually. A tight labor market regionally and nationally is making it challenging for employers in places like your state, places like New England, to find enough talent to fill job openings that are there. This is a real problem for employers, and you hear this more and more around the country. So one thing that we see that works is where mayors in particular are really engaged in convening local businesses and local community college and vocational schools to make sure that these skills that they're teaching actually match up with the opportunities that emerge on the other side locally. And you'd think this is a very simple thing, but many communities are just not putting enough effort into making sure those dots connect. It's really not magic. It's just you have to go through the exercise of doing that and being thoughtful and closing that information gap for people who want to increase their skills or get a higher education of some type, making sure that what we're teaching them and what we're funneling them into actually has opportunity on the other side is the first step. And so that's really much more a local stakeholder and local private sector type of challenge than it is nationally. But if we saw more of that and we saw more models that took that head on, I think we'd be able to close that gap quite a bit. The other thing that has to be mentioned is we have a slowing population growth rate. We're currently in the slowest period of population growth the U.S. has seen since the Great Depression. And so that's going to further constrict the labor force as we see the prime age workforce is only growing at something like 0.1%. So there's only a couple ways to counteract that. One is people have to have more babies, or we have to let more people who want to be here, who have the skills, come here. And so both of those are ways that we can approach dealing with that challenge and opening up the labor market for folks who want to be here, who have the skills, and who match with what employers are trying to do in terms of their own hiring.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I just a comment, Mr. Riley, you addressed the internet challenges that we have. And I just want to express that as an issue that I hear about all the time as well in Iowa. And Mr. Hobart, you've experienced this as well, challenges with internet access and broadband. And I just want to share a quick story about a constituent. She was in an area that did not have a good internet access, rural area. She lived on a farm, was trying to start a home business, and exorbitant costs to get satellite dish internet. She, in the evening, would sneak into town, the little rural community, and sit outside a local business and kind of pull off of their internet. So, you know, it is a concern out there. It is something that we need to address for our small businesses, and it needs to be looked at as we move into an infrastructure package. So that's all I have. I'll yield back my time. Thank you.